Hello and welcome back to Dungeon Mastering Videos. I'm your host and resident nerd watcher, Nicholas DiPachola. I've got a treat for you folks this week. I'm going to be giving you some teaser materials from the upcoming book, The Dungeon Master's Guide 2. Now, I'll have a full review up in a few days, but for now I'm just going to tease some information. This is part of a collaborative project put together by Jeff from the Tome Show, and in the show notes below this video, you're going to see a list of several bloggers and podcasters who are going to be teasing information, offering full reviews of the book, showing you images from the book, and doing several other fun things in relation to the release of the book. So check the show notes right below this video for more information. I'm going to be talking to you about chapters 1 and 2 of the DMG2. Now, chapter 1 is group storytelling. This section incorporates a lot of ideas from indie RPGs. Most dungeon masters let their players add new locations and villains and such when they're creating their characters as written into their backgrounds. This chapter advocates allowing the same sort of freedom in the middle of play. For instance, one example has the party coming to a fork in the road, and the DM asks one of his players, "Tell us what's up ahead on the fork to the left." And the player starts to describe that there's a group of birdmen who live up there. And the DM says, "Oh yes, that's good. They've got a chieftain who recently declared war against all mammals." He asks another player to describe what's ahead on the fork to the right, who starts talking about a haunted mansion that contains, secret information that people have been looking for. And the Dungeon Master secretly thinks about a group that's there, searching now. That sort of collaborative storytelling has been largely absent from D&D by the traditional rules, but it's being introduced here in the DMG2. It also has some more traditional storytelling advice. For instance, it discusses something I discussed recently about how failures can be more interesting. It tells you to avoid dead branches. How even a failure in a story should never just be an end. It should always lead on to something new. It may be a new challenge or a difficult thing the party has to face, but it still moves the story forward instead of stopping it. There's some wonderful advice in here, and you'll find out more during my full review. Chapter 2 is Advanced Encounters. Advanced Encounters teaches you a great many things. It talks a lot about how to include more story and role-playing into your combat encounters. It deals with some new fantastical terrain you can incorporate into your encounters. For instance, having a fey ring that allows your players to teleport when they're standing in it. It also introduces a new mechanic to 4th edition, which is terrain powers. For instance, if your players are standing on the classic rickety rope bridge, there's a terrain power that anyone can invoke to swing the bridge and potentially knock everyone on it prone or even throw them off the bridge. So it allows the players to utilize the terrain in a more mechanically described way. Another example they have is chandeliers that you can cut down or swing on or just interact with in a more defined way instead of leaving it entirely up to the DM to determine the effects of it. Also included in this section is a number of new traps, many of them very fascinating, like the Pain Vault or the Mural of Madness, but it also contains advice for creating your own traps. In essence, they want to help you make your encounters more tailored to your group and just add flavor to them beyond kill the monsters. They never flee, they never have their own objective. It's just a fight to the death in an empty room. They want to make your encounters more interesting, and I think they succeed at that. Now, you'll find out more during the full review, but there's a lot of interesting ideas in here, and I think you'll find it worth picking up. So, I hope I've piqued your interest. You'll find out more soon. Check the show notes for more information.